Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, New Inside Art. Today we are going to talk about the best and the worst interior design trends that we've seen in 2025. As the year is coming to an end, we are noticing that there are some things that were so cute and there's some things that weren't so cute. So I am going to talk about the few things that are my favorites and the few things that are probably your favorite, and I'm going to judge them. You know, I'm going to go through some trends and staples in homes, and I'm going to talk about whether it is a toot or a boot and give a verdict. If you care, you care. If you don't, you don't. But you're watching this video at the end of the day, so please like, comment, and subscribe. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the carpet for bedrooms, the carpet for stairs. We see it coming back. I've seen this mostly in 2025. It's pretty interesting because wood flooring was actually a common concept primarily in the 1980s to the 1990s. You know, people were pulling up carpet to reveal hardwood floors. It was driven by the desire for a classic look and traditional. And I feel like most importantly, it came from the dissatisfaction of carpet maintenance, okay? Nobody wants to have a carpet to constantly clean, and over time it gets worn, especially if you have pets, kids, all that craziness. Now I've been seeing the carpet look kind of come back, and I'm actually kind of about it. So I think the verdict here is that this is one of the best things to come back in trend. Investors and builders nowadays always try to put hardwood floors in all homes, especially if it's new pre-construction, and they're automatically going to tell you that it's modern, it's clean, and fresh. But I feel like we've been just overseeing it. It's been overdone. So people are trying to bring back the old, you know, the vintage. It's actually less expensive to have carpet in your home. So I see why that came back. And you have a variation of these. A lot of people, when they think of carpets in homes, they think of that flat look, you know, there's no texture, there's no variation or whatever. But the textured weaves, the wools, the jute rugs, these are all the ones to look out for. The reason why it works is because it adds warmth, it adds depth. It makes a bedroom, for example, feel instantly cozy, and you don't have to literally get out of bed and step on cold, icy floors to begin your day. That's something that we don't want to do. And a bonus is actually soundproofing. So if you have a lot of people living in your house and you have, for example, pets or kids running up stairs, that can minimize the noise level. But as with all the best trends that come, there's always a potential drawback. And for this one specifically, carpets can look worn if not taken care of properly, and they can easily look dirty. So in that case, we're going to choose the neutral tones, right? We're going to look at something that is a carpet that is going to elevate the space in a way that feels as though you don't need to get that hardwood floor. Think of it. When we have too much hardwood floor around your home, you're always looking for, you know, some sort of soft material to put on top in order to break up the space and have that contrast and having something that's more tangible, I guess. So if you don't like the carpet coming back, I feel sorry for you, because this is actually pretty cool. And I feel like in 2026, since everything is going up with inflation and getting super expensive, we're gonna see more carpet from now on. The next trend I want to talk about that's been going on for a long time in 2025 is bolder paint colors, and this is not going anywhere. I think we all know why. We are steering away from the generic tones. I'm talking about the grays, I'm talking about the beige, I'm talking about the whites, the gray, everything that stems from what we thought was a massive uproar in modernism. All of those things are becoming a downfall. It sucks because, you know, I see a lot of people that are bashing that, you know, don't have gray in your house, don't have beige in your house and stuff like that. And some people had honestly no choice, especially if you're a renter. You're going into something that's newer and looks more appropriate in this modern world, and that's kind of like aesthetically approved. But now people are not aesthetically approving it, so I feel bad for you guys. I'm sorry. Thankfully, you can find ways in order to kind of hide that aspect of like gray, beige tones, so it's not doomsday for you. But the huge bonus here for the trend in 2025 of having bolder paint colors in your homes is that inexpensive furniture look so rich and expensive. If you got cheap looking items and you can't just buy anything other than IKEA from your local home department store, having a bold backdrop can do just the trick, and to slurp everything together and add that expensive taste without even trying. You can DIY a bold paint color. It doesn't require a extreme good contractor in order to do it. You can learn how to paint, and that's how I'm learning myself. You can do it yourself. And in addition to these bolder paint colors, we are finally seeing the bold ceilings, okay? This is called color capping, and this is where you add a different tone, most likely a darker tone, in your fully color drenched room. They bring drama without spending too much money, and it instantly makes your space look like it's designer high end. Yes, this is a good trend. More personality, please. Keep it coming. We want to have all those colors, but the colors need to make sense. I don't want no rainbow vomit type of maximalism that's just like, you know, walking through a clown house. Nobody wants that. That's kind of scary. Next, we have the Cowhide Rug. Okay, so don't really know about this one. This one is kind of mid to me. I don't know if it's the best, but I also don't know if it's the worst either. But we've seen a surge of these in, like, you know, Airbnbs, luxury cabins, industrial and rustic interiors. And it can work in so many elements, but at the same time not, because it's either going to be really flat or just like really random, I feel like. I think why people love it, it's because it just adds texture in a way where you don't see something like this in a home, like, you know, cow skin, you know, leopard print, all that type of stuff. It's kind of interesting to look at in the home because it's not something you usually see in your home. You don't see a cow, you don't see a leopard. That will never cross your home anyhow or anywhere. So I would say it's very organic in that sense. But the issue here is the longevity of it all. It can feel like a cliche trend piece if not styled carefully. So it doesn't always work with modern or minimalist spaces. It can look like you just ran over a cow and then just put it down and you're just like, oh. So in that case, I feel like it's best to pair it with layers. You know, a lot of people are mixing and matching their rugs together, and especially when it's jute. So I would probably throw a jute rug under there in order to balance that tonal effect. And I would definitely put it under something like a coffee table, a couch, or a like middle centerpiece of your office. A lot of the times we kind of see it in the random section area, like in the entryway, or just like, you know, that splatter ran over a cow in the middle of a home. Don't do that. I feel like that immediately will take away its intention, but it made the list. It made the list because it's being seen a lot. The next trend I want to talk about in 2025 that has been going around a lot is the large kitchen islands, and this is immediately a thumbs up. And do you know why? I feel like if the space allows to have that bigger kitchen because it automatically makes it functional, it gives you the opportunity not to spend like hundreds or thousands of dollars on a nice big dining table to accommodate everybody, especially if you like having guests over. And it gives you a break from being constantly around the fridge, around the oven, around the microwave. Get away from that splash, and you can easily serve back and forth whoever is interacting with you in the kitchen. Islands are naturally a gathering point for everyone. I feel like it's literally the most natural place to, you know, settle down. I don't know how many times when people come over to my space, and I don't have a large kitchen island, but I have, you know, somewhat of a normal island, and, you know, they kind of settle down there first, especially after coming from the entryway. It's easier for casual meals, and I feel like the cleaning up is faster. If you can fit it in your home, do it. I highly recommend, because these large kitchen islands, the ones with the panels, the wainscoting, the textured details around, or even just the ones that work from the hardwood floor or the tiling all the way up to it, is kind of like chef's kiss. So immediately yes for this one. Next trend I want to talk about is the minimalist pendant lights. And we know the minimalist pendant lights has made its way through the homes, but they're also going through the restaurants that we're visiting and the hotels and everything like that. And I don't know where that came from. Honestly, chandeliers were a big thing in like the early 2000s. You know, I remember I used to watch MTV Cribs, and I would see these celebrities have these big ass chandeliers inside their homes, and they were just amazing to look at. And as a design enthusiast, looking at the detail and seeing like the crystallized effect and everything just added that dramatic effect. So I don't think this is a good trend for 2025 and moving forward. The sleek black ones, the chrome, modern scone lights. Now, if that says something about status, then these are definitely a boot in my opinion, because why? It honestly just looks like a toy. The problem is that minimal pendants fade away when the room itself is already minimal. So pendant lights are a chance to add a sculptural drama and texture. And with furniture that's getting more expensive, your lighting is kind of like jewelry in a sense. So don't waste the opportunity for this. Go bold. Forget this trend of minimalism when it comes to lighting. I'm sure you are going to have compliments whenever you find that big type of chandelier that is just kind of like wrapping your space up. Next one I want to talk about is the modern shaker doors. So the modern shaker doors. I think you know what I'm going to say about this one. Too minimalist, not dramatic enough, and not textured enough. I feel like this is a common builder grade staple. We're having the minimalist doors. What happened to the French doors? What happened to the fluted textures, the funky handles? Like all of this has been gone. And I feel like, again, you know, it's getting expensive to have all those things, but there are so many alternatives, and I feel like there are cheaper methods in order to add that dramatic effect without spending a huge buck. Your doors are definitely a huge part of the design and it's often overlooked. I get it, it's safe, but come on, let's elevate this time. I want to see those doors, the ones that you look at and they're just like, damn, like it probably took forever to put that up because of the detail orientation you needed in order to kind of make it a sculpture. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is the accent wallpapers. I feel like the accent wallpaper is a thing, and this was a really good interior design trend that I was seeing in 2025. It's such a great way to add some contrast without having to do labor like painting. Although it may seem costly at first, depending on how big your wall is, in the end, it's a simple way of upgrading your space without the messiness. And also, not only to avoid paint, the panels, okay? We've seen the constant panels, and this was automatically a way to elevate your space, okay? Having that 3D panel, you know, even type of wainscoting, but I feel like the 3D panels vibe that were kind of like oak walnut was major, and it's still going around still. And people started to kind of like remix them and kind of make like these zigzags and stuff like that, which were cute in the beginning, but now I feel like it's kind of looking like crayon sketch vibes. It can feel childlike, and if you are grown, you know, you want to be sexy, you want to have big boy, big girl space, the wallpaper and choosing the right one that either like floral, it has something like grass cloth, this can do the trick. Wallpaper adds story, it adds depth, and kind of character development because it's like bringing up a personality that was plain. You don't really need a contractor to do it, so it's very DIY friendly. Love a good storybook in a home. Moving over to the next trend, I feel like that has been going around in 2025 is the copper fixtures. And I'm immediately going to tell you that this is one of the best trends I've seen because we are sick of that chrome. We're sick of silver. Silver and chrome has been very inexpensive for a while, and it still is, but like, I don't know why we just continue to choose that. Stainless steel is just tired. It's tired because copper brings warmth, uniqueness, and hides fingerprints much better. I feel like it works beautiful in modern homes and vintage inspired homes as well. I've been really liking it. It's not so much of a huge statement. What I like about it, stainless steel needs to go. I feel like it gets dirty most of the time, and especially if you have a stainless steel sink, like I feel like I'm cleaning that most of the time. But if I had like a copper sink or like, you know, copper fixtures, I feel like even if it would be dirty, it wouldn't be as dirty looking as a stainless steel kitchen. And not even only kitchens, try to do it for your bedrooms, your bathrooms, everything like that, your shower heads. Get into it and go all out, okay? Don't just use one section of your home if you have the money, because copper fixtures are actually expensive. All right, so the next one I want to talk about is the curved furniture. So curved furniture is a win, I say, in my opinion, but it can kind of fall mid, kind of like the cowhide rug. And let me tell you what, I feel like people have a love-hate relationship with curved furniture, and I get it. Like with the human eye, when we see curved furniture, it's kind of uncomfortable because we're used to symmetrical, sleek lines. Just in general, like when you look at architecture and everything, things have to make sense and not always be curved, like, or else it can make you think like you're in a fun house or things are just not proportionate. But I feel like since we're kind of going into this, you know, cookie cutter layouts, especially for builder grade homes, we're not replicating the homes that these amazing past architects used to do in like the 60s, 70s and stuff like that. Curved furniture can actually give your space a break from that layout and make it feel like it's breaking apart your space in the right way. You hate to just be in a box, okay? We are in a box, you know, most of the time, especially if we're at work, we're in a restaurant or anything. So things that are kind of moving around kind of makes your space fun, and if you can access it from different ways without bumping into something, that is a plus too. As long as it's mixed together, I feel like it's great. But when you have everything that's just like curved and you look at like, you know, these swivel chairs and like these carpets and these couches and they're all have this like irregular pattern, then I'm like, okay, then we can boot this style out. It wouldn't be the best trend for interior design if that's all what we're doing. It would be too much of it. But if you have the right balance, I feel like curved furniture is a thing. It makes your space look really expensive and just makes you look like you have elegant taste. So please don't avoid that. I feel like a lot of people just hate curved furniture because they're just like, no, it just doesn't make sense. Breathe, it's okay. Things can look in odd shape and still make sense. So go for it. I may be biased because I just bought a curved couch for the first time and I'm loving it. Okay, so the last one I want to talk about best and worst interior design trends. I kept the controversial one for last, and this is maximalism. So I've talked about maximalism a lot of times on my channel, and I feel like it's definitely a hit or miss. So I am not actually going to rate this. I feel like I'm just going to explain like my experience with it and what I see on the internet and in people's homes, and just you can make your own opinion about it. So I feel like maximalism has been a thing since COVID because, you know, we were stuck indoors and we had a lot of furniture to buy out of boredom, and you know, we just wanted to make our space look cozy, and we were honestly just bored. A lot of people are kind of regretting it right now because you want to make sure that your house is clean and you don't want to have to deal with, you know, nonsense of so much upkeep and maintenance. So that's where I feel like it goes wrong, is that the more stuff you have in your home, the more you are going to have to take care of things. And I feel like we're kind of going into this era where it's just like, okay, we're realizing that we don't need all this stuff, and especially since inflation has been going high. There's the home decor tariff. Can't afford the same things we used to afford in the early 2010s. What I'm trying to get to, I feel like maximalism is great in a way if it has a purpose. So if you are an art collector, if you are a vinyl collector, we're all about that. We're all about that, doing what you want, not having an interior designer tell you what to do, or just being hyper fixated on like a content creator or whatever that's telling you that you should buy boucle couches constantly. For the maximalism that have like, you know, different color palettes, different types of colors all around their home, I feel like when there is a neutral base and then they add color on top, that's when the maximalism works. But when it's just like color vomit and there's no, like, I can't tell the difference between like this green and like this purple and how it's working together between like this brown, that's when I'm just like, okay, this has got to go. I feel like the reason why it's so popular is because when it is done well, you see amazing results. But for an everyday average person like you and I, come on now, we need to be realistic of how we can create a maximalist home. So I'm gonna leave it at that. This is in the middle. I do not think maximalism is a bad thing, but I don't also think is a good thing if it is not applied properly. Please don't hate me. So all right guys, so that's the end of the video. These are the best and worst and a bit mid interior design trends that we've talked about today that are making waves in 2025, and we're all excited to see how 2026 is going to be. But other than that, if you really like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know your favorite interior design trends, anything that I have missed, anything that you disagreed on, anything that you agree on. This helps my channel to grow. And if this is not your cup of tea, you don't want to listen to my advice, please actually go check out my other playlist. I actually have recent videos of home updates. I am going through a home journey transformation where I am applying the advices that I'm giving to you right now. A lot of new videos coming along the way. Thank you guys for tuning in, and please subscribe. I will say it again, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. So I will see you next time for sure. Bye.